Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Screen Scene Guru, and today I'll be doing some movie coverage and some comic book reviews, so be sure to stay tuned for all of that goodness. Starting off, I've watched a movie on Prime Video. This is Primitive War. It was advertised earlier in the year, around the time of Jurassic World Rebirth coming out. I thought it was pretty funny that we were getting two dinosaur movies in the same year. We're not often used to that, but with the CGI and VFX all ready to go, they produced this film. It's from a smaller studio, but going into this, we've got Vietnam, 1968. A recon unit known as the Vulture Squad is sent into an isolated jungle valley to uncover the fate of missing Green Beret platoon. They soon discover they are not alone. I like this story very much, given the fact that it's a sci-fi, horror, dinosaur adventure. They do go into a bit of quantum physics with this Hadron Collider and then bringing things through time through a veil, if you will, or a wormhole. So I thought that was very interesting to the lore. Besides, genetics, this does come from a previous book. So I'm really glad that they adapted the book to the movie, similar to how Spielberg did Jurassic Park. So very nice. Going into some of the actors real quick, I do want to give a big of a shout out to Nick Welchler, who was in Revenge and a few other movies that I've watched before. We've got Jeremy Piven, who's been in comedy things before as well. He plays the Colonel Jericho in this. I feel like this might be, one of those spoof mockumentary films that people refer to, but it was very good in action. I like the dialogue in it very much. The costume design was really well done for the time setting. I know a lot of people are already speculating whether or not they're going to make a sequel to this Primitive War, because I do believe it was profitable. Let me look up real quick the box office. Real quick. It made $168,000 worldwide. So yeah, it didn't make too much. But the box office, let's see, worldwide, so about $100,000, which isn't too bad, but given that these films, I don't know exactly the budget of the film either, so let me look up budget real quick. Oh, it was only $7-8 million. So the fact that it made $100 million worldwide was pretty good. These cheap horror films that are being made, mass-produced, and then of course making a big profit, it's a really good sign for the studios. But yeah, like I said, I watched this on Prime Video. I rented it for $10. Bit of a high price for a rental, but I do recommend it for you guys that like dinosaur movies and are into spoof mockumentary films. This is definitely your kind of movie. But going off from there, I do want to give a big shout out to ABC and the people at 911, because we do have the season 9 premiere of 911, as well as the spin-off 911 Nashville premiering. It already dropped their first episodes, and they did really well, so I highly recommend you guys go on and check those out. Going on into some comic book news, we've got issue number 11 of 12 of Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, The Face of Doom. It's a very interesting stuff here to cover. I am reading all the comic books I got in my collection leading up to the big finale, which would be, Secret Wars and other things. Like, adds a Civil War comic now that I can go into, which that might be pretty fun. Start off with all our heroes acknowledging Doom is different from where he was. He's now much more powerful, absorbing the powers of the Beyonder. And we see our villains now, kind of wondering what to do amongst this new change Doom. We see, let's see, who is it? Go back real quick. Molecule Man admits that he's angry at Doom and he wants to take Doom on. And he wants to fight him. And so we see that fight take down, when Molecule Man comes to take down Doom, he basically tells him, you have no idea the limits of your power, which is very fascinating. Doom shows him the veil of the reality, which is kind of fascinating as well. Doom's risen to this higher level of consciousness. So that's pretty cool. Going on from there, we see Molecule Man is able to pretty much make anything he wants. He creates a craft to transport the villain's group. And then we see the heroes. Iron Man has to carry Reed Richards like a sack with all the heroes inside him, which I thought that was very comical and ridiculous that they're doing that. But yeah, really funny. And then of course, now the heroes are at the previous Doom lair, trying to figure out what they want to do. Hundreds of miles away, patchwork planet constructed by Beyonder of bits and pieces of thousands of other worlds. And then in the suburb of Denver, Colorado, a creature comes out of the ground, similar to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Ego. So it's really fascinating as well that, we've got places coming apart and different things. Then moving on, we see that Molecule Man tries to lift his city up out of this world, which is pretty cool too. The heroes are reacting to Denver being taken from this battle world and being enclosed in its own structure. Then of course we see Colossus is a bit seduced by this Jazia, and then we see Hulk is sleepwalking through the Doom Mansion. Spider-Woman tries to stop him with her webs after Colossus left for a booty call. So that's very fascinating stuff. We do see that there's something that possessed Hulk, switched bodies with him and Spider-Woman in order to get this mechanical robot that's in Doom's lair. So that's kind of fascinating as well. They do hear her scream. That's when the other Avengers come, and they see that whoever was in control of Spider-Woman's body left a message. You are summoned to the Tower of Doom. And they see this giant erupt tower, 200 feet tall, where they assume Doom must be planning his next move. They do see their robot, Doom's robot, return, Clang. Yeah, it's a very interesting. He's kind of like a monkey, though. He kind of runs around doing things. And then Colossus finally meets up with his lady friend. Even though they've never met, they're psychically connected to one another. But we'll go off into how the heroes basically have to join forces and get ready to converse with Doom in his new tower. I really like how everybody in the comic book universe is connected. I wonder how they'll join up in Secret Wars or Doomsday potentially. How they'll mix the Avengers and X-Men and other heroes, how they will actually work. We do see that Doom kind of feels bad for the things he's done now that he's ascended. He brings back Kang the Conqueror, which a lot of people are rumoring he's going to do that in the movies as well. He sends Kang back to his own time, and then he offers the heroes any wish they want, which they turn down his wish because they're not sure of his malevolent powers. we get to see after Doom tells them all to leave, Spider-Girl, or Spider-Woman, is still in the facility, and Captain America goes back inside to get her, and that's when we see her and the robot again swap bodies, or at least consciousness. There's some kind of entity that's transporting itself between bodies, and now it's in Doctor Doom's robot, so that's kind of fascinating as well. You see that Colossus is called away from his love by Professor Xavier, telepathy. He is needed for the battle, so he has to come back, even though he doesn't necessarily want to. And then we see this giant council room chamber with all of our heroes. I really wish we get this live action, because that would be really fun to see. But all of our heroes kind of discuss their opinions on Doom and the situation, how they've known him for years, and how can they trust him now with all this power. So they all come to the unanimous decision that they have to fight Doom. And then, of course, after Colossus breaks down in tears for wanting to be with his loved one, the room explodes, of course, leading into our issue 12. But a lot of people are giving Colossus some bad takes because, of course, he was dating Kitty Pryde at the time when he was cheating on her with this, what's her name? Zazia, who's a psychic from an alien valley. So, yeah, very interesting stuff there. I think the storyline's pretty good. But yeah, this was my Secret Wars comic that I read. And then I do want to go into a real quick Silver Surfer as well, real fast. And then I'll do some movie news to wrap this up. But starting off with Thanos, her name is Thanos, of course. And I believe this is the first time the Silver Surfer meets the Mad Titan. He's heard of him before, but this is his first encounter. And of course he asks him to get onto his throne chair to travel amongst the universe. And at first, Norrin Rad, Silver Surfer, is skeptical. He doesn't want to leave his board behind. But then he warns the Mad Titan he has his own cosmic powers to defend himself. And of course those are nothing to Thanos. So he continues his journey with him, exploring the universe. Thanos gives him kind of his quixotic opinion of the galaxy and why he needs to be the one to correct it. We do see a bit of a glimpse of Tokyo rush hour, how he talks about overpopulation and how it's going to be the downfall of not just humanity, but many species out there. They need to have some kind of hurdle or some challenge to overcome to reach space. Talks about overpopulation, overpollution, the garbage we make, which is very fascinating for the time. You know, they're going into environmental issues. They kind of addressed that a bit in Infinity War, but not really. They didn't go into like the deep and dirty of it. Of course, Silver Surfer argues with Thanos, saying there's another way. Humanity will learn, they'll change. And then he's teleported to this interesting planet. This is the one from the cover. These little monkey funny creatures. They're very nice. They're non-combative because Thanos goes into the fact that there are no predators, natural predators, on this planet. But because of that, within a generation or two, these creatures will result to cannibalism and fighting amongst themselves until their species goes extinct. So really grim, dark future for this planet. But then, of course, we see once Thanos teleports Silver Surfer back to their original meeting spot, he warns him of a virus he's infected him with, and that this virus is spread to every planet they've been to. So very maniacal, evil, plotting. And Thanos tells him if he takes his board and returns in time, he may have enough chance to save half of the population. with the antibodies in his bloodstream and his body. So of course Silver Surfer and Mad Titan are at odds. And then of course after Silver Surfer takes off, you hear his maniacal laughter echoing through the cosmos. It even awakens an older god, which is called a godlike being known as Kronos. Hears the foul laughter and realizes Thanos again lives. Kronos in the comic books was the father of the Eternals. So very cool connection there. He comes back to the planet only to find heaps of bodies, and then he transfers his cells to the indigenous alien, which in turn touches 10 more aliens and spreads the cure. But he talks about how he has to manage the cleanup of the infection on this planet and how he's become a Lord of Death, which is what Silver Surfer didn't want to be. They discussed these agents of death, lords of death, come to these planets and perform, these mass killings. And Silver Surfer's wanted to be a hero, but he's inadvertently become a Lord of Death. And then we see out in the cosmos, of course, real nice stars going on. And Kronos, father of the Eternals, Titan of their gods, he awakens a force to take down Thanos, one that has already been killed, but he revives him. Really cool to see our first appearance of Drax the Destroyer. So that's really cool. Part of the Guardians of the Galaxy being introduced right at the end of a Silver Surfer comic. So that was my 2 comic book reviews. Also my movie review for Primitive Warfare, or Primitive War. Very interesting film. I like it felt very much like Godzilla, or not Godzilla, what was it? Kong Skull Island. That's what I liken it to. Kong Skull Island, but a little bit cheaper in the design for the effects of the dinosaur. There's so many dinosaurs too. It was a hindering quality, but it was also a neat factor. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the movie. Have you seen it yet? Let me dive into some movie news real quick, because I do have a little bit just to catch up on. So going into Martysupreme and the Smashing Machine, this is some interesting stuff here from the Safdie brothers. They've been making films for a long time, and they've been winning awards for them. And now the Safdie brothers have split. They've become, independent creators. And one of them is working on this Smashing Machine that's coming out right now. It's not doing too well in the box office. But also the other, Benny, I believe, is doing Smashing Machine. And then Josh is doing Martysupreme. So both of them are sports movies, and both coming out from A24. So that's very interesting to hear. If you guys are interested in those movies, definitely check them out. Weaponized released a video about whistleblower testimony, Dylan Borland, about ancient craft being exhumed at archaeological sites. So that's very interesting to hear about. We've been hearing about DoD chat rooms on the internet going off about declassified files and how they recovered craft from out of the country before and brought them back to reverse engineer. But a global phenomenon, double feature for Predator, is coming, with this Predator Badlands coming out in November. They are going to have on November 5th a double feature of Prey and then Predator Badlands in the theaters. This is the first time they've had a Predator double feature since they released the first 2 Predator movies as a double feature. So that's really cool to hear. Stranger Things Season 5, their episodes are rumored to be 90 to 120 minutes long. So movie quality, movie length for Season 5. It's really good. There was a Minecraft 2 leak over the weekend, or over the last couple days, that they are officially doing a Minecraft 2 in 2027. We're not sure what the story is going to be or if we're going to get returning characters. But the fact that Warner Brothers wants to do a sequel in just a few years shows that they're very adamant about it. And then Alan Richardson and Kevin James were in a Prime movie for Playdate. It looks pretty funny. It's going to be coming out. And Heat 2, we've got the confirmation that they're working on the script for it with Leonardo DiCaprio coming on board. Amazon and Sony Studios wants to put up the money for Warner Brothers to release the film, so that's very interesting news. What do you guys think of all the coverage? Be sure to like the video, comment down below what your thoughts are. Comparing the Primitive War to Jurassic World Rebirth, I would say they pretty much hit right around the same spot, even though one of the movies had much higher budget than the other. They both are very enjoyable films, and I definitely recommend you check them out. So until next time, guys, this is me signing off. Have a good one. I'll catch you in the next one of my videos. Bye-bye.